What's up gamers, welcome back to another episode of Video Game Gems. I'm Ginge the Ripper, let's play a game. Guys, I think I might be the chosen one of video games. Last year, I reviewed Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, Phantom Breaker Battlegrounds, and Zombies Ate My Neighbors. Now, a year later, Scott Pilgrim Complete released across all modern platforms, Zombies Ate My Neighbors re-released alongside its sequel Ghoul Patrol, once again on modern platforms, and an updated version of the original Phantom Breaker, a Japanese exclusive, is scheduled to release worldwide in 2020 as Phantom Breaker Omnia. That's incredible. I better hurry up and do an episode on Sonic 06. We could end up with a remake. Anyway, in the spirit of Halloween, we're taking a look at Zombies Ate My Neighbors and Ghoul Patrol, going over what changed in this version of Zombies, and reviewing the sequel. The game has a really cool startup screen that allows you to switch between the two games. Both games come with an art gallery filled with concept art and sprite animations, as well as official artwork from both the US and European versions of the games. The instruction manual has its fair share of humor. In the introduction, there's a transcript on how to save the world that reads as follows. You will play the game as one of two brave kids, Zeke or Julie. If you're playing the two-player game, one player can pick each kid, but you can't have two Zekes or two Julies. If you don't like the names Zeke and Julie, you can call them by their other names, Nick and Beth, Spike and Sarah, Pat and Pat, whatever. We won't tell you what to do, but we know their true names are really Zeke and Julie. Hey Nick. The SNES version of Zombies Ate My Neighbors was the one that re-released, as it was favored over the Genesis. It has a wider view, runs faster, and comes with a secret weapon, as well as other small conveniences I covered in my review. There wasn't a whole lot that changed in the re-release. The button layout is different, along with a few password changes. As far as the button configuration goes, it's a little more convenient to have the item button mapped to the Y, as it is the farthest button away from the attack button, which is where your thumb will mostly stay throughout the game. This helps players keep from accidentally using important items when they don't need to. Although, once you finally get used to the original button layout, this is no longer an issue. Some of the passwords stayed the same, while others were either changed or removed entirely. More characters were added to the password database, suggesting new passwords were added, but I don't know for sure. I haven't fiddled around with them too much. BCDF no longer sends you to the first special stage, but THRL still sends you to level 5 with all 10 neighbors. I don't know why they chose to do this. Maybe they got rid of all the passwords they thought were unnecessary. This isn't a big issue, but I feel cheated out of a free 1-up. It's even stranger since save states were added to the re-release. If you mess up or don't get the effect you want, you can just load in your save state until everything lines up. Save states were a much needed addition to the game. Zombies is so repetitive it can feel like you've been playing for hours when you've only been playing for a few minutes. If you find the patience to play through the game in a single sitting, knowing each route, where all the useful items are, and tricks to fighting all the bosses, you can complete the game in a good hour and a half at most. Zombies is a pretty difficult game overall. If you get a game over, a password will send you back to the stage just after the last boss you fought, with whatever your neighbor count was when you got there. However, you will be stripped back down to your starting gear. Some of the items can only be found in specific stages. If you're past those stages, you can't get them back. In this case, it's better just to start over because you most likely won't make it much farther anyway. It's not impossible to beat the game without saving. After all, I've done it twice, as far as you know. But the save feature makes the game more convenient for players who don't have the patience to constantly reset or complete the game in one sitting. And that does it for the changes I noticed in the re-release. For the most part, it's the same game. The changes won't stop longtime fans from enjoying themselves, and help draw in a new audience. Ghoul Patrol wasn't originally meant to be a sequel to Zombies, but was reworked into one to increase sales. Pat and Pat take a trip to the library with a new exhibit on ghosts and demons from the Dark Ages. Despite taking down a mad scientist and stopping a zombie apocalypse in their previous game, Pat and Pat assume that everything in the exhibit are special effects and accidentally unleash a demon upon the world. Now they must work together once again to stop the demons and ghosts causing havoc around the world. Ghoul Patrol is much like its predecessor. You explore various stages, collect your neighbors, and get out. Your victim count starts at 10 and drops by 1 every time a victim is eaten by an enemy. If your victim count drops to 0 or you lose all your lives, it's game over. Instead of having to collect a certain number of points to get a victim back, your victim count will reset after each boss fight. Ghoul Patrol doesn't have a mini-map like zombies. Instead, the victim closest to you will call out for help. You can then follow the directions of their screams to find them. I personally like this method better since the victims can call out from all the way across the map, while the minimap only shows you the victims that are in your vicinity. After all the victims are collected, an exit portal will open. Unlike zombies, the exit won't appear next to you, but will instead have a predetermined location. Assuming you've collected all of the victims in order, the portal is usually close by. However, if you mess up and have to backtrack to collect a victim, you'll then have to navigate all the way back to the end of the level to exit. There are fewer weapons and items to pick up in Ghoul Patrol than in zombies. The weapons are various types of guns with their own effectiveness against different enemies, while the items have been dwindled down to just health kits, keys, and potions. The potions are similar to the ones in zombies with a few changes. Red potions now turn you into a Grim Reaper that can be used to break down doors and walls. Some walls can only be opened with a red potion and have various goodies behind them. Like the purple monster from zombies, the Grim Reaper can do a lot of damage, so it can be tricky deciding whether or not to gamble a potion on a breakable wall or save them for bosses. Blue potions still turn you into a ghost, but now you are allowed to open doors and fire your weapons while in this form. Also, if an enemy touches you, it dies. There are two new potions in the game. One is a green potion that hurts you if you drink it. Collecting them will just add an extra slot to your inventory, so don't bother picking these up if you can avoid it. The other is a gold potion with the same effect as the health kit. It brings you back to full health. I don't know why they decided to include two items that do exactly the same thing. However, it's much more convenient than it sounds. The game allows you to salvage through cupboards and drawers for items. With two health items in the mix, you essentially have twice as many chances to get a health kit. The last type of potion is the mystery potion, a reoccurring potion that once again acts like any of the other potions. Keys have lost all value in Ghoul Patrol. Keys are used to open up locked doors scattered throughout the game. The problem is there is an overabundance of doors in each level. They're everywhere, a lot of which lead to the same place. Because of this, keys are littered everywhere. If you do a lot of exploring, you'll have more keys than you know what to do with before finishing the first level. Keys were important in Zombies Ate My Neighbors because you had to be careful where you used them. They had a moderate drop rate, but if you went around opening up every door you found, you'd find yourself out of keys very quickly. Some levels required you to open a certain number of doors to escape. These levels had just enough keys to open those doors, but also had doors with hidden secrets and bosses. Without a good haul of keys, you could find yourself stuck with no way to progress. Ghoul Patrol is the exact opposite. There are more keys in most levels than you're ever gonna need. They could have removed the doors entirely and the game wouldn't change.
What am I supposed to do with all of these?
One thing Ghoul Patrol did right was including more food items. In Zombies Ate My Neighbors, there were 2 levels with food on the ground that gave you a bit of your health back when you picked them up. Ghoul Patrol had an abundance of these without going overboard. You never feel overwhelmed or forced to squander your health items when you're getting low. The enemies in Ghoul Patrol have predetermined spawn points instead of popping up wherever they feel like it. The problem I have with this is that enemies can keep spawning in the same place indefinitely, and quickly at that. Some of these spawn points are in front of doors, basically forcing you to take damage if you want to progress without wasting your special items. Ghoul Patrol runs slower than zombies, as it favors better graphics over functionality. Because of this, your characters move slower. A run button was added to the game to fix this issue. However, the mechanic is pretty annoying. You start at walking speed and gradually get faster the longer you run. If you change directions or slow down at any point while running, your speed automatically decreases back to walking speed. Another new mechanic that was added to the game is sliding. Sliding allows you to slide under certain enemies. Sliding gives you a great boost of speed and can be used over and over again. Because of this, sliding is more efficient than running. Jumping was the last new mechanic added to Ghoul Patrol. You can jump over fences, onto tables and desks, giving the game more options for item placements, and over certain enemies, like sharks. Jumping is a useful mechanic as you don't have to locate trampolines to make your way over certain obstacles. Ghoul Patrol has fewer worlds to explore than zombies, but are more linear. You'll be sent to a different world after each boss fight. There's the city, a China-themed world, a pirate island, a castle, and more. Play the game for yourself if you want to explore them all. The boss levels in Ghoul Patrol are different as well. Instead of taking place inside another map, each boss battle takes place inside an arena. The victims won't appear until after the boss has been dealt with. They are out of harm's way, so you can focus all your efforts on the boss without worrying. Most of Ghoul Patrol's downsides are made up for with various new abilities and items. Ghoul Patrol is much easier and shorter than zombies. Capping at 18 levels, Ghoul Patrol can be beaten in a day if you know what you're doing. The game isn't as repetitive as zombies, making it a much friendlier game. So, is Ghoul Patrol a gem? Nope. Even without polish, Ghoul Patrol is a pretty solid game. Unfortunately, there is one inexcusable piece of Ghoul Patrol that keeps it from being a gem. The final level before the boss fight in the medieval world is a dungeon full of spike traps and lava pits. Most of the pits are protected by spike traps on all sides. There is no way to get through the majority of these pits without taking damage, and if you fall into a pit, you'll automatically lose a life. This is the only level in the game where ghost potions are mandatory, and even then, you most likely won't have enough to get through a single level without running out. Even the spike traps that aren't surrounded by pits spring up too fast to maneuver through. The final world is full of pits and smaller platforms you have to hop across to reach certain victims and items, but at least those are manageable. The dungeon level is one big endurance test that ate up a majority of my lives and items. Zombies Ate My Neighbors had a similar level late game full of nothing but spiked floors. However, the spike traps are slow enough for you to navigate through without getting hurt if you have the skill. Alternatively, the level is small enough that one ghost potion will get you through the level before it wears off. To be fair, I've only played through Ghoul Patrol once. The re-release was my first experience with the game. There may be other tricks and patterns I haven't discovered yet, but at face value, this level is a nightmare and unnecessarily difficult. It's for this reason I can't bring myself to call this game a gem, but maybe it's best left up to personal opinion. As always, let's go over the fun facts about the franchise. I mentioned this in my original review, but didn't have a picture to show you guys at the time. The Chainsaw Maniac in Zombies Ate My Neighbors carries an axe in the European version of the game, since they have a stricter rating system. He even goes by a different name. In America, he's called Stanley Decker the Chainsaw Maniac. In Europe, he's known as Bruce the Crazy Lumberjack. The rest of the enemies keep their original names, but while we're here, let's take a look at the name of our vampire friend on the left-hand side of the page. This is clever on so many levels. The instruction manual for zombies also has a notes section for other name considerations. I don't know whether any of these were actually considered or not, but it's clear that a few of them were put in as a gag. In the Ghoul Patrol instruction manual, the introduction refers to Zeke as you, the player, confirming that player 1 canonically plays as Zeke. When I was younger, I remember seeing several reviews on YouTube stating that there was a third game in the Zombies Ate My Neighbors franchise called Metal Warriors. However, this is not the case. Metal Warriors was another LucasArts title that was designed in the same engine as Zombies Ate My Neighbors, and was developed by most of the crew that worked on the game. However, Metal Warriors is its own franchise, separate from Zombies. Herc's Adventure is another title that was developed by the Zombies Ate My Neighbors team and plays similarly to the game. For this reason, many believe it to be the true successor to Zombies over Ghoul Patrol. Yet again, the game has no affiliation to Zombies Ate My Neighbors. Lastly, a Zombies Ate My Neighbors movie was announced back in 2011, and even had a finished script written up, but was pushed back due to financial issues. The project was never released, but at the same time was never officially cancelled. There may still be hope for the movie, especially now that the franchise was re-released on modern consoles. Well, that just about wraps up this review. Thank you all so much for watching, and keep on gaming.